who has a very strong presence in the MacArthur Park district, and you can tell by looking at the graffiti on the buildings there. Eric Brenner, Breaking News Los Angeles, to discuss this tonight. We are joined, and we're going to be joined by him momentarily, is Kicking It actor from the Disney Channel, Kicking It actor Richard Wajda, who is joining us tonight. Richard, are you there?
I'm here.
Richard, great to have you on the show.
Thank you.
You're a fan favorite. We had a lot of messages about that episode we did back when the fires took place here in Los Angeles, and
Yeah.
you were fantastic. Thanks for joining us again tonight. You're joining us from Long Island.
Yeah. So, yeah, since that time we spoke during the fires, I have had a stroke and had to move to New York for recovery. So, that's why I'm here.
Well,
But I'm getting better.
we're very glad to know you're getting better. It's very upsetting this happened. It was
Yeah.
horrible to see you leave town. We know there were other reasons,
Yeah.
and you know what? Honestly, just to have you here and alive and kicking, one of the guys who was on that show, Kicking It, it's just tremendous. And thanks for coming back on the show. You know,
Thank
we
you.
saw what happened tonight or yesterday with Mayor Karen Bass
Yes.
and her outrage. I don't know how it came off when I just played it just now. I don't know if the audio came over all right, but her reaction to this ICE enforcement raid of sorts. Where's the outrage for the people who live in that neighborhood and are paying market rate rents? And we're not talking
Yes.
seriously. Where's the outrage for those people who have to live with this open air drug use, the open air
Yes.
drug market, the drunks, the overdoses, and the vagrancy? What did you remember about
Okay, I
this?
was
Go ahead.
when you invited me, so much pops in my head because MacArthur Park. Now I don't know if this has anything to do with Donna Summer's song MacArthur Park, but every time I drove past this MacArthur Park, I always thought of Donna Summers in that song. And there were shows like Major Crimes and a couple of shows that were on in the last couple of years have filmed scenes in that park. And it was always a beautiful park, but it has gotten so dirty and bad. And unless they were doing something publicly, the place was a mess. It was dangerous at night. People walking out of stores, shoplifting everywhere there. They make it like it's the greatest place, but they're only there when it suits their needs. Like the mayor's there now talking about, oh my God, we got to get rid of ICE, this and that. So you're protecting the criminals that are there. The place is getting worse. It's absolutely disgusting and unsafe there now.
It's so disastrous. I mean, to think about you driving Uber
Yeah.
in that neighborhood. What do you recall? Do you have any? I mean, when you drop people off around there, what were they saying about living in this neighborhood?
I don't remember having conversations with people, but a lot of people that were I did pick up because I did pick up like Wilshire's there, I think it is. Whatever the main road is, I picked up people, and it just doesn't seem normal. I think the people are unsafe there. There's a Home Depot a few blocks away. It always looks like there's crime going on when I'm there. It is there's no police presence there. They changed the streets a little bit to where is that Western? Where the main street is there? You can't make a left turn during busy hours because people getting stuck waiting to left, and people throw rocks at you if you block the traffic. I've seen people throw rocks at people's cars because they're waiting to make a left turn, so they can't make a left turn during the day now and stuff like that. And there's been people have been attacked over the years that I've lived there down by the water. I hear crime like that all the time, but it goes unnoticed. It goes unnoticed, until Mayor Karen Bass wants to make it a political issue and talk about what she did on the news. And to me, I think she's aggravating people to cause problems for others, rather than cleaning the place up.
She absolutely refuses to deal with this, and she's only speaking up for basically illegal criminal
Yeah,
or the so-called immigrant population, the so-called immigrant
yeah,
community. That's a phrase the media loves to use here, the immigrant community. And by the way, the local media, as you'd recall here, KCAL 9, KTLA, they stack these stories, their newscasts, one, two, three, four in a row, stories about ICE enforcement. It's always, there's never any voices in favor of this action. They only have one, two, three, four ICE enforcement, and then immigrant community. It says it over and over again. The immigrant community. They use that phrase over and over again to stir emotion instead of honestly just stating the facts about what's going on here.
Yeah,
Is that
yeah,
they're enforcing federal law.
correct.
And what you're seeing is that they say it's okay to enforce some federal laws, but not this one. That if they're in that if people are here if they're here illegally, this is we're going to let that go as long as they're not committing a crime. I don't know about that. How do you feel about that?
They just they don't want you to know what's really going on. They need numbers in that area because of votings. You have to have a population that's on the side of which they want you to vote by keeping them populated there. So let's just assume that there's 1 million people in Los Angeles that are criminal and need to be removed, and they left. They lose those votes. So they want these people here. They promise you to get here. They're getting free hotel rooms because of the votes. It's all about voting. I mean, that mayor, she lives off of Wilshire, and one day I couldn't get down the street where she lived. They had a lot of police coverage there because they were having a party for the illegal people that were in the community there. It's so much secret stuff going on here. But
It's
the people that
shocking.
are here, that are paying and their taxes and trying to live here, have to live being in danger everywhere you go. You know?
It's never a celebration of the people who did it right, who came through the lines. Everyone, you name it from wherever country in the world, they're welcome here as long as they go through the right channels. Eric Brenner here, breaking news, Los Angeles, which with our very special guest, actor Richard Wajda, joining us tonight from Long Island, New York. Richard, you think about this. It's the crime gets worse and worse in Los Angeles. One of the things you
Yes.
were telling me about why you decided to leave the area is it just has gotten so out of control in the area of LA that you were living in, which is basically the foot of the Hollywood Hills, on the
Yes.
Hollywood side there. And you saw the worst of the worst. Every night you go
Yes.
onto your page, you had this police action, you had this robbery, you had this holdup, or even
Yes.
worse. What do you think Karen Bass is doing to crack down on these on public safety violators, on criminals? What do you think? Does she have a focus on public safety at all? Do you think?
I don't think she does at all because when the fire started, she suddenly stayed out of the country wherever she was, and she was reamed at the airport by press when she came back. It was like planning things to do it her way. When the fire started, they were evacuating the Hollywood Hills. When I was trying to get out, you couldn't get off the street. But meanwhile, people were breaking into homes right there in plain sight, and they were ignored by police. They were ignored by her. Nothing is done right there. I had that app on the phone that tells you when there's a crime going on. It always beeped. There was always a break-in. There was always a robbery. There was always something in all the main stores there, and nothing is done about it. But when the Oscars come and the award shows, and they'll close the street and clean it up and make it beautiful for the one night, and everything comes back the next day, including MacArthur Park. When they were filming major crimes there and whatever shows, it'd be clean and perfect, and 6 hours after the cameras leave, it's like you're fighting to safe, get home safe.
And that's the situation. It's exactly right. They clean it up right. Well, when we were filming this Nick Nolte movie back in April there at Langer's, they didn't clean anything up. I mean,
Yeah.
what the crew members had to witness in that park is shocking. We really couldn't say it on the air without getting people very upset. But you see the worst of humanity in that park and in that
Yeah.
area. And again, people keep mentioning MS-13. That's fine. I agree that MS-13 is in that area,
Yeah, they
but
are.
it's the 18th Street Gang who were their graffiti was plastered all over the buildings in that neighborhood of these hardworking small business owners,
Yeah.
and you get no help, no aggressive help from Karen Bass and the LAPD. You're right over there. You call them. You say, "What's going on with this?" Their hands are tied because they are directed by City Hall to back off. And now with Nathan Hochman in, thankfully, I mean, there was only so much people can take with George Gascon as the DEA, who was basically pro-criminal in every one of his actions. We saw it time and time again in that room 101 in the Van Nuys courthouse, where the judge, the prosecutor, which is Gascon's office, and the defense are all on the same team. And that was on the side of the criminal, and the people of Los Angeles, their safety was at risk. I'm wondering if you heard about this, Richard, this story with this woman, this poor woman, 51-year-old woman. She's actually, she works in music licensing. She does clearance for songs to get into films. She was in Silver Lake back in June. ABC7 broke the story 2 days ago for some reason. But she was walking in her Silver Lake neighborhood, I believe right by the Erewhon there. And there's a homeless encampment nearby that she has called and complained about. Well, what happened was she was walking down the sidewalk, I guess during the day, and this scumbag from from that homeless encampment just ran up to her on the sidewalk and punched her 4 or 5 times and didn't kill her, but gave her a concussion and a terrible black eye. It's all over the news right now. You haven't heard a word about this from Karen Bass. Not at all. You wouldn't get a peep out of Karen Bass for this woman who now has traumatic injuries and a recovery now. Not even an apology, nothing from Karen Bass to speak out and go make a public appearance. But I shows up with a couple of guys from the Border Patrol, and there's Karen Bass, Richard Wajda, in the park, demanding, saying outrageous things and demanding action. But not this woman who got beat up by this homeless man, by this maniac, who for no reason ran up to her and punched her 3 times in the face. And thankfully someone was there, a good Samaritan was there to get her to the hospital. You didn't hear one thing out of Karen Bass, did you, Richard Wajda?
Not one thing.
And you won't. You won't. It's like the wrong demographic almost for Karen Bass to get involved with. It's Eric Brenner on Breaking News Los Angeles. We're joined again by Richard Wajda. We're talking about this very disturbed person named Karen Bass, who has been running the city of LA for the last few years. Unbelievably, you realize, Richard, they haven't built one home since our last broadcast. With this fire that tore apart thousands of homes. Do you know not one has been rebuilt? That there's still, even with all the promises and all, we're going to clear the red tape. What do you think about that?
It's really disgusting because I saw an article. There was a person talking that finally got out to see his property up there in the Palisades a few days ago. There's so much red tape to rebuild, so much costing that they have to pay to get approvals. You have to be approved for this to even build the same thing that you have there. They don't want people to come back there. There's a community, a lot of people that live out there in the Palisades have joined together because they're trying to buy off the property from these peoples at low dollars, and nobody is getting in. So they're staying. There are a lot of people that want to stay and rebuild, but she's making it harder for them to rebuild because you got to get all these permits that nobody can get.
It's just despicable. And again, how easy would it be just to step in and streamline this for these people? It's the very least they can do. I mean, she didn't even have the water in the fire hydrants, and Newsom also couldn't make sure the reservoir was filled. Eric Brenner here on Breaking News Los Angeles. We're joined by Richard Wajda, who is one of the great Hollywood men, and he's now on the East Coast, and we're very glad that he's doing well and joining us here tonight. There's one more thing that I'd like to talk to you about, and that's the film industry. You had, look, we had similar paths here. We've gone on similar paths. We're around the same age. We're both from the same part of the country. We met on the set of a very big show down here together. We have a great history in this town. You went and you had your breaks. And you'll continue to have your breaks. We've both have been blessed with breaks, and we'll continue to. My question to you is, what does it look like to you, the future of working in this
I
business?
am concerned that California is a long way off from getting better. For example, Zac Efron filmed the movie right before all the fires and everything in Atlanta, but they had to film a couple of scenes on Hollywood Boulevard because I guess the location was needed. And the rest of the production moved to Atlanta, and nobody's filming there. And now I just heard today that I can't remember his name, but my sister showed me that somebody who's got power is going to build a movie studio in Alabama. And that's the next thing. So what's happening, they're not giving any breaks for anybody. It's cheaper to take a whole crew to Canada,
There you
pay
go.
for their flights and everything. And so nobody really wants to come. It's so damn expensive. I went to one of the studios that you and I met at years ago. It's empty and nobody's renting. It's too expensive. And now they're starting to build things. I hear some projects going on in Queens and New Jersey, now in Alabama. And I don't think it's going to make a comeback anymore because they are not giving any breaks.
And
They have a plan to destroy.
go ahead. Yes. And what I was going to say is another reason why I brought this topic up is, again, you can blame Karen Bass. She's now, waving the victory flag here, as her and Newsom were able to push through this tax credit, which should have been done during the 2023 strike, if he cared.
Yeah.
If he
Yes.
cared, which he doesn't. And he showed it by allowing everyone to struggle through that strike and allow the Bernie Sanders led wing of the Screen Actors Guild to tear apart this union and tear apart every working crew member in Hollywood for the entire 2023. Newsom did absolutely nothing to end the strike. Bass did nothing but encourage it. And of course, Bernie Sanders got on and raised Fran Drescher's hand and couldn't get over himself. He really just needed an underwear change, and Fran Drescher was there to give it to him. I mean, let's call it what it is. Eric Brenner, breaking news, Los Angeles. We're here with Richard Wajda. We are going to say goodnight for now, and thank you for joining us. So we are basically following this here, Richard, in LA about these ICE actions. They will continue. We're expecting them to continue. And you and I can safely say, are hoping that they continue with warp speed to get the violent criminals off the streets,
Exactly.
and to bring LA back. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yes.
Go ahead.
I was saying that exactly. So you be safe. I think about you every day.
You're the best, man.
We're going to get through this. We just got to stick together, keep people strong.
And we'll have you back, and we'll do it again. Thanks so much for joining us today, Richard. Thank you.
All right. Have a good night. Be
You too,
safe.
brother. Thank you.
Bye.
Eric Brenner, breaking news, Los Angeles. There he is, the man himself, Richard Wajda, back in action in Babylon, New York, and he's our contact now on the East Coast for sure. Thanks again for watching, and we'll continue to monitor the situation with ICE and Karen Bass here in Los Angeles on Breaking News, Los Angeles.